Welcome back to the David Pakman Show. I am Farron Cousins from Ring of Fire, sitting in for David today as he enjoys a nice little break from all of the insanity happening in the world of politics. So let's jump right in to all of that insanity. Late last week, a judge, Judge Arthur Engoron, the one overseeing Donald Trump's upcoming trial for the $250 million lawsuit filed against him and his kids by New York Attorney General Letitia James, Engoron ruled last week that Donald Trump's new accounting firm cannot continue to shield his financial records, and they must turn them over to Letitia James. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, but Farron, the judge had already ruled that Donald Trump's accounting firm had to give all of this information to Letitia James, right? Mazars, Donald Trump's accounting firm, was ordered to turn all of the financial documents over. They're vital to the case. That is true. So Donald Trump did what most major corporations did, and he employed a tactic known as the Texas two-step. Typically, we see it in corporations facing billions of dollars in lawsuits. What they do is they create a new subsidiary, spin off all of the liability but none of the money into that subsidiary, then file for bankruptcy saying, hey, you can't sue us because we got no money. Now, Trump's little scheme here, his version of the Texas two-step, was slightly different. What he did was, as soon as the judge said, hey, Mazars, you got to turn over this financial information, Trump said, okay, Mazars, I'm taking it away from you, and I am putting it down in Texas, where they have very strict privacy laws, with a firm called Whitley Penn. And so for the last few months, Whitley Penn, who now holds Donald Trump's financial records, has been telling Letitia James that, hey, sorry, under Texas law, right, this guy's our client. You know, we love him dearly. We've known him for days. We can't give you his documents because Texas law prohibits that. So Engoron, of course, was forced to step in and say, no, you can't do that. I'd already ordered all of these documents, regardless of who held them, to turn them over. And that was when the documents were, in fact, by the way, in my jurisdiction here in New York. They were moved after the ruling. You have no claim to continue to hide them. So Donald Trump's financial documents should is the key word, be handed over to Letitia James so that she can continue on with her $250 million lawsuit against Trump and his kids. Now, this is probably going to be appealed. That's what Trump does. He does the delay tactic. He tries to exhaust all of his appeals so that he can make sure he's fought as hard as he can to hide these documents. But again, when you look at the facts of the situation, while the documents were in custody in New York, they were ordered to be delivered. They were moved after that order came down. Whitley Penn should have no legal claim to continue to keep them hidden because the order came while the documents were in the jurisdiction of the judge. It's pretty black and white. It's pretty simple. I don't think this will or could be overturned on appeal. But we've seen some wacky things come out of the court systems, not necessarily with regard to Donald Trump. He tends to lose a lot throughout most of his life. So I have every faith that this ruling is going to stand, but it is quite telling, isn't it? Trump was ordered to turn over these documents. Rather than turn them over, he decided to hide them. Now, I'm not on the jury. I haven't seen the documents. All I can do is speculate at this point. But if I'm looking at this case as a prospective juror, because they will know that the documents were moved, all right, this public knowledge, I'm going to be asking myself, why, after he was ordered to turn them over, did he go and hide them in Texas? That doesn't sound like something that somebody who is totally innocent would do, does it? Again, I'm not on the jury. I'm not in New York, so I won't be on the jury. But those are questions that the prosecution may ask during the trial, and those are questions that Donald Trump's ragtag team of second-rate attorneys are going to have some pretty dang good answers for. Otherwise, it's only going to make Donald Trump look guilty as hell in front of that jury.